Hi, I'm Carolyn Shavino. I am your career coach. I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Dana Pavlo, and she's a licensed clinical social worker and the clinical director of an amazing institution that she's going to go into herself and tell you about, Ellie. Dana earned her master's degree from the University of Chicago and has 20 plus years of experience that includes counseling adolescents and families, child welfare, juvenile justice fields, office-based medical groups, and outpatient hospital programs, and so much more. But I'm going to turn it over to Dana and let her share who she is, and then I'm going to ask her about her work journey, because this is what's happening in the world of work. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you, Carolyn, for having me. So
You
excited.
are very welcome. I'm happy that you're here.
Me too. Me too.
And thank you so much for what you do. Just blessing people with roadways to mental health. But we'll get into that more so. So Dana, tell us about you.
Tell you about me.
Yes, please.
I was raised in New Jersey.
Jersey girl.
Jersey girl.
Okay.
So sometimes it comes out when I talk.
I love it.
Can't help it. Grew up in New Jersey. Have a younger brother. Went to college. Undergrad in West Virginia, went to grad school out here, which is what brought me out here. And I was ready to move home back to Jersey. It was my mom's Christmas present as I was coming home. And then I met my now husband. And
wonderful.
I'm still in Illinois.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you met him.
Me too. We have two lovely boys. Amazing growing up, playing baseball.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Tell us about your work journey.
My work journey takes a couple of different paths, a little bit, all around the same counseling idea. When I was younger, when I interview people now and they say, it sounds so cliche, and I hear myself saying it sounds so cliche, but I was the person who friends came to talk to about problems. I remember being on the playground and someone be like, I don't know what to do. I'm fighting with my parents. And it just always felt natural to me to help people and to talk and listen to people. My parents got divorced and we saw a therapist. His name was Howard. He is my mentor. I'm still in touch with him today and love showing him like what I've done because of him. He sat down with me in college and was like, this is what a social worker does. This is what a counselor does. This is what a guidance counselor does. And like walked me through all the different types of mental health professionals. And I chose social work because of him, and went through undergrad. Well, one of the things I talk about in terms of the work journey, I tell clients that I work with, especially young ones, is that I was not a very good student, did horrible on my SATs. In Jersey, there's only the SAT, there's not the ACT. Did not get into any colleges on any of my first picks, second picks, or third picks.
Okay.
I had to apply to a backup school in West Virginia to get in to West Virginia University through a junior college there. Got into my degree, got into social work, loved it, did great in it, went on to graduate school, got into University of Chicago.
Which is one of the top.
Which is, I tell that story because what you do in high school does not dictate who you will be at all.
Bravo.
So I would not be where I am today had I not taken that journey. But went to University of Chicago, got my master's degree, graduated over 20 years ago, and just did different work. I did supervised visitation and divorce mediation. I did work with foster families, and really took a little winding road. And some of it was due to some of economic issues in Illinois, because back in, I think, around 2013, when the state stopped paying their bills. I was working for a non-for-profit.
Okay.
And every day we came to work and it was like, do we have a job? Are we going to be able to continue to see clients? So
Sure.
I had to take a pivot and went into private practice for a little bit and taught at Aurora University as an adjunct professor for a little bit. And then kind of pivoted back to non-for-profit. And now I'm working at Ellie and I couldn't be happier.
I know. I want you to take us back to that moment in time where you met Howard.
Mm.
And isn't it interesting, and I'm sure that you share this with many of your clients, isn't it interesting that something traumatic, I would say, it does cause trauma when parents divorce, created this impulse within you to say, wow, I really admire this person. I want to be like this person. So many times it's those unfortunate circumstances that we are placed in that enlighten us and kind of erupt those skill sets in us, right?
Absolutely.
The soul within us as to, this is what I think I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So in that moment, what was that spark?
I know it was a couple of years later, because in the beginning I was like that defiant teenager, like, I'm not going to talk to a therapist.
Of course.
Right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
what is he going to know? He can't tell me anything. And it took a while for me to let him in. And when he did, obviously it started to help. And I started to feel better and deal with issues of the divorce better. And as then I was leaving high school and thinking about college is really when it kicked in and you mature a little bit and you're able to. And that's when I turned back to him and said, I want to do this, but what? And I think that was the most pivotal point for me in terms of picking the direction I wanted to go in.
You probably made him feel immensely proud.
My mom still talks to him. And so and I'm going to send this to him too. He'll see what I'm doing on like Facebook or LinkedIn. And he'll tell my mom like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what Dana's doing. And I don't know that he really recognizes how much he impacted my life.
And I'm sure you have people looking at you the same way.
I hope so. That's my goal. I try to remember that everyone we touch, you just plant a seed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're just planting a seed and
it
hopefully
sprouts,
it grows.
and it becomes beautiful. And then it looks back at where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
And you're planting those seeds.
Yes.
That's a beautiful, beautiful career that you've chosen and something that is so needed. I think it became more recognizable, if you will, during COVID.
Absolutely.
Where unfortunately people were stuck at home or feeling just out of sorts, not wanted, a lot of death, a lot of trauma, on and on and on and on. And did you see an accelerated rate in people coming or people trying to avoid therapy during the COVID situation?
Both. Honestly, it was both. There was people that wanted it, and that's when we got more tech savvy and started to use virtual counseling. And then also people just kind of hid within their households, especially introverts, right? They were happy. They didn't have to go out. So they hid. A lot of alcoholism showed up,
of course,
because people didn't have anything else to do. But I would say that going through COVID, and at the time I was doing adolescent PHP-IOP, so that's partial hospitalization program and intensive outpatient program.
Okay.
And through there, I saw the results of what was happening to the children, to the adolescents, and the self-injury growing, the suicidal ideation growing. So I don't think you know this, I joined the school board. I wanted to join my kids' school board because I felt like if I could bring back to the community and bring this aspect of we have to take care of these kids and the teachers, because we forgot, like parents were so set on like the teacher's not doing this, the teacher's not doing that. Well, they were having their own kids that they were trying to educate
Yes.
while they were virtually teaching. So like we did, one of the agencies I worked at, we did a lot of self-care for teachers to try to remind them that we care about them, that they need to take care of themselves
Very needed.
through all of that.
Yes. What do you think, in your professional opinion, during that unfortunate time in our history, caused kids to cut, caused kids to want to commit suicide? Was it because they were taken away from being with their friends? Or, I mean, I'm still trying to understand it, but that's not my forte. Help us understand, what do you think happened then?
I think it was a little bit of, a lot of times parents were not present before COVID, so then they really weren't present during COVID. So the kids had no one to turn to,
Oh my
right?
word.
For comfort, for direction, for guidance. Social media took a huge upturn,
It
right?
sure did, yes.
And we know that there's not always healthy advice that's given in social media platforms.
Right.
And kids just didn't have the tools to begin with, the coping skills, right? So I think that added a lot to it. But then another thing that I happen to see, and I still try to work with my with my staff now, is the word suicide a lot of times by adolescents is used instead of escape, right? They don't know another way to say, I don't want to be in this situation right now because it's too much for me. And so they use, I want to die, or I'm thinking about suicide, or right. And then when you talk to them more, what I started to do is be like, okay, on a scale of 0, like dead, to 10 being life is great, where are you? And they're usually around a 3 to a 5. Like, they don't want to die, but they don't know the other words to use to say, right now really stinks and I don't know what to do about it. And so even just teaching kids to turn that word off, because it's really triggering for parents, for anybody, right? You hear someone is thinking about suicide and you jump to attention.
I hope so.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't know if I answered your question exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
you sure have.
Yeah.
I was just, wondering about that time, because a lot of different things happened, obviously, that we were surprised with.
Mm-hmm.
Doing work in a shelter, personally, the amount of abuse went up just enormously. And again, because of excessive alcoholism or excessive drug use, again, being confined to the home, not working anymore. But the pathway then from all of that led you where?
Led me to, actually, while I was at the outpatient programming through a local hospital, and then I had an opportunity to go back to a non-for-profit I had worked for a very long time, which I was super excited about as the clinical director.
Nice.
And then, unfortunately, it took a turn in terms of the atmosphere.
Okay.
The work environment was not as healthy as I would have liked. And I knew I had to do something different when I would come home and my husband would say, like, you're so upset all the time. Like, why are you doing this? And I loved the work we did.
Of course.
We worked with police departments. We worked with juvenile justice. Like, it was really that, like, getting into the community, like real true social work when you think about it.
Yes.
But I couldn't be in that space anymore. So I applied, started looking at jobs, and saw this ad for LA Mental Health. I'm like, what's LA Mental Health?
Yeah.
And did some work, and I was like, what? They can franchise mental health? What?
I didn't know that either until we met. And I thought, bravo, how wonderful is this?
Right? It was kind of like a whirlwind. And so I applied for the job, met my now partner, boss, Vishal, and we had a virtual interview. And it was eerie because we were both like, it feels like we've known each other.
Oh, there it goes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's that energy.
It is. And we just clicked.
Yes.
And so we met in person then, talked in person about like more of the Ellie, how it works and the intricacies of it. And the coolest thing is he's like, this is it. If we're doing this together. So why don't you bring your husband over and with my wife and let's get to know each other because we're going to be in each other's lives for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we were there, what we thought might have been like 2 hours. We were there for like 5 hours just talking and getting to know each other. And that's been the pivotal of our relationship from there. It's like we are able to have communication and talk to each other and be open and trusting and all of that. And it absolutely is. Yeah. But one of your other people that you were interviewing, you had said to them about saying yes. I had another job offer at the same time. And I was like, this new thing that I'm starting something up and I don't know versus like something that's already established and done. So we went to dinner. My husband and I went to dinner with a couple and a mentor of mine. And she was like, Kurt, if you don't let Dana do this, this is the best thing for her. This is amazing. Yes. And I said yes. And next month will be a year that we've been in our space.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely something to be proud of. And I think we all have that gift, right? That we're born with. And we know it's like, oh, we're questioning this. And once we start questioning, most times, not all times, but most times, you know, while you're questioning, it's not comfortable.
Right.
It's not a good fit. Something feels wrong. And then you have something over here that just is like, oh, but it might pay a little less, but it might be a little further distance than you're willing to drive. But isn't it worth it at the end of the day when you can get out of your car happy in the morning?
Yes.
Instead of devastated.
Yes.
I say that all the time. We spend, 80% of our time at work? And that's our work family. You had mentioned you left a job that you absolutely loved, giving to the community. And I know it's cliche, but it's true. People leave because of people. Mm-hmm. They rarely leave because of money. They rarely leave because of distance. They rarely leave for, I wouldn't say insignificant things because money is significant when you have a family or you have bills to pay. I get it.
Right.
But most of the time, it's because of a work environment that is toxic or an environment where the leader is toxic.
That has led me to now, in my interview process, I've kind of changed. As I've learned what Ellie does, I've changed the way I'm telling people about the job so I can be as transparent as possible.
So tell us about Ellie.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah. Ellie.
I'm so excited about Ellie.
Yeah. I honestly am a servant leader, have learned that about myself and love being authentic to that now because I can be. I have control over that. So I create that space. I try to create that space for all of my therapists, but we're a for-profit outpatient mental health where we see a good way to describe it is all of my therapists have like their own mini business inside of our Ellie Aurora business, inside of Ellie Mental Health Corporate.
So they have ownership.
So they have ownership of the types of clients they want to see, the hours that they work, their office space, just, there are obviously expectations, right? We have expectations, but within knowing what the expectations are, they're not changing. They're not fluid. This is what the expectation are. If you can meet that.
This is your brand.
Yep, which works best for you and your family. I have therapists that work really long days and start early and go late. I have therapists that break up their days so they can go home and take care of their kids and then come back to work. We really had to do learning of the clock in 9 o'clock, clock out at 5, and really say to them, like, this is your time, this is your space.
Right.
Make it work for you. And every day that they walk in and they have smiles on their faces, and
That's
everyone's stopping in each other's offices and chatting before clients and after clients. That just makes my heart sing.
It's family.
Yes,
It's family.
absolutely.
And many times folks that are looking for service can't come during the day.
Right.
So I think it's wonderful that the office can be open according to people's needs
Yes.
as well.
And that's, again, being transparent with potential employees and saying, like, if you want to be successful,
Yes.
this is the easiest way to be successful. If this doesn't work for you, that's fine.
Right.
There's other places, but these are some of the
Yes.
keys to being successful here. And I think our clients feel the difference, because when they walk in, right, that we always have like a coffee bar. So there's a coffee bar and tea and water. And
Yes.
then I always have like granola bars or fruit snacks out.
I'm coming.
You're welcome anytime.
Okay.
But remember being a parent and running, like having to run all over the place? Well,
Yeah.
at least if a parent knows that when they come to Ellie, like they can, at least their kid can have a granola bar to get them through the hour without being late or without fidgeting or right, being starving. So you just try to create a place for them to come in and just be them, to be authentic and bring who they are, and my
Yes.
therapist be authentic and bring who they are.
That's welcoming. That's welcoming.
Yes.
In my business, I always say, you're coming to my home.
Mhm.
And when folks walk into my business, I always ask, would you like coffee? Would you like water? We have cookies, we have candy. What can we get you? And right away, I think people are like, what?
Mhm.
You know, they're taken aback by it because they're welcomed.
Yes.
And that's important, especially in your industry where people are pouring out their fears, they're
Mhm.
pouring out secrets for the most part, and being transparent and extremely vulnerable.
Yes, I was going to say that, vulnerable. Mhm.
Yes, yes. And that is beautiful work, really beautiful work, and so needed, especially with bullying now in school. I read something the other day where a child was bullied to the max and beaten, actually, and the school board, didn't do anything about it. They tried to cover it up. And I can't even imagine how the child felt
Absolutely.
and how discouraged the parents felt. You're on a school board, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming to the board and they're saying, help. And now, you have this child, and rightly so, that doesn't feel protected.
Yep.
And I'm sure you find that.
All the time. I mean, we have kids that come in that are reluctant, right?
Of
Like I
course.
was when I was little, and
That's the key, though. You
Mhm.
were there, so you
I was
know
there.
how to get in.
right. And a lot. If anyone's in our field, we were in grad school, one professor specifically would say, like, you're all here because you have your own stuff going on. I was like, I don't have anything. And then you get older and mature, you're like, yeah, I do. And that's why I want to do this, right? To help
Yes.
other people get through. And every therapist that I have met since has their own stuff that they've carried, worked through, and now want to help other people do the same thing and allow that safe space for them to be vulnerable in. And it doesn't have to be because you have a problem or
Right.
there's something wrong with you, right?
Right.
It's to work out what's going on, change your thinking patterns,
Mhm.
see a different perspective of a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Learn how to communicate more effectively, learn how to handle emotions a little more effectively. Like, it's not the old thinking, like you have a problem, you go see a therapist, they fix it. Because I still haven't gotten my magic wand from grad school, and it's been
Yes,
over
yes.
20 years, right?
Right.
So it's more of developing that rapport, building that space that's comfortable to let someone be themselves and tell you without judgment,
It's beautiful.
so that you can help them work through whatever it is that they need.
Yes, and we're people.
We are.
And life's challenges are always there. And like you said, sometimes we don't have those people in our tribe, I call it,
Mm-hmm.
to help us work through, or trust
Absolutely.
to help us work through. And it's always wonderful to go to a place where people are welcoming, where people understand, where people may have been in that same situation before and have the tools to help. Because I believe that's our purpose, period, is to help each other,
Mm-hmm.
to lift each other up all the time. That's our purpose. And if we don't do that with each other, why are we here? It's such a short period of time, Dana.
I
Why are we
agree.
here?
I can't imagine doing anything else with my life than either being a parent, wife, right, or being
Yes.
in this field to help others. So, I mean, I've taught my boys even like when we're at a store, right? You hold the door for something. Like those little things that you do can make such a big difference in
It
someone's
does.
life. Looking at someone in the eye and just saying, "Hi, how are you?" Right? Just being on striking up that conversation with that elderly person who's right pushing a cart, and just
Yeah.
you can make someone's day, and it takes no effort at all, and just kind of spreading that out there, because then you feel better. Then that person hopefully passes it on to the next person, passes it on to the next person.
I agree.
I think life's too short to carry around anger and resentment, and
Yeah. There's too much of it.
there's more than enough to go around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Someone looking for work
Yes.
and wants to go into your amazing field, which I'm not courageous enough to do because I'm an empath. And I tried teaching many, many years ago special needs students and wound up crying every single day and realized that I am no good to my students. So I had to choose something different. So I chose teaching seventh grade, which was interesting. But I admire you to be able to walk into a situation and stay grounded, because you have to stay grounded in order to assist. I don't have that mechanism. I fall apart. So somebody looking for work, what experience, what background, what would you suggest they come in your door with?
In the work world aspect of it, that they come with a like can-do attitude, like almost like a hustle, right? Willing to hustle, because it takes, especially where we're at right now, right? There's a lot of people out there that need help.
Yeah.
And for someone to be able to work with their passionate population, whatever that may be, you have to go find it so that they know that you're there, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I definitely tell people that are coming. In terms of someone going into the field,
Yes.
in general, is be authentic to who you are, and be willing to be vulnerable, because that supervisor is there to help guide you. I had amazing supervisors, which is now like in my career time, I don't really see clients anymore. I like bringing on new therapist interns and helping mold them and help them find their therapist voice, right?
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to kind of like a client therapist relationship, create a bond of trust where they can be vulnerable, so that they can then learn how to ground themselves when they get triggered because something reminds them of something in their past, or
Right.
so being willing to be vulnerable and authentic to who you are with your supervisor, so that you can learn from those experiences.
Okay.
And just in the field in general, be willing to be flexible, because the people that are coming to us, whether no matter what demographic, what nationality, what race, what socioeconomic status, they need that flexibility, because their lives, they're coming to you for a reason, right? Their lives are in upheaval in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
Not based upon my definition or yours, by theirs. So they need that flexibility in a person to be able to feel comfortable to then be vulnerable with you.
Makes sense. So where do you go? Where do you and your colleagues go to rejuvenate, to reboot, if you will? I mean, you're constantly pouring out. What do you do to pour back in?
Watch my boys play baseball.
Yay. Of course you
Of
do.
course.
That's awesome.
Spend time with my husband. Absolutely. We make time for date nights and stuff.
Smart. Yes.
And then I have my girl tribe. I have my soul sisters who, when we need each other, it's like, you'll drop everything. Okay, someone needs us. Let's go. And
Beautiful.
those are kind of the main things. I go to the gym too, but I had an injury, so that's kind of stopping me. But I'm anxious to get back.
You will.
But yeah, those are the things you have to in this field, identify those things that fill you up, because you can't go into a session empty.
Right. You can't.
You can't.
People can pick it up.
And it's not
Especially
helping
children.
the clients.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kids know.
Oh,
They pick
do.
up the vibe. They feel the energy.
They do.
They know. And they'll look at you and may not say anything, but they're feeling it. They're feeling a disconnect, or they're feeling connected.
Absolutely. I want to go back to what you said about working with the special needs students.
Please.
When we come out of school, I'll use just say me. When I came out of school, there were many a days where I would go home to my husband and be like, can we just take this little girl in? Please.
That is so me.
And
oh my goodness.
through good supervision, through good
yes.
role models in the field, you learn how to ground yourself and remember what your role is. Not to say you're not inhumane and you don't feel it. You
Of
still
course.
feel it. When I tell my clients how proud I am of them, like I get teary-eyed and I say like, oh my gosh, you're bringing tears to my eyes, right?
That's
Because
beautiful.
you're invested in each other. It is a relationship.
Yeah.
But you do learn how to, it takes a while. It's not like grad school just automatically makes you this great therapist,
Yeah.
right? It takes a lot of work on both your part and a supervisor. And that relationship is what's going to help direct how successful you are in the field in any of the jobs that you have along the way.
I'm great with adults. I can be grounded in being strong and forthright and all of those things. But when it comes to kids,
I know.
I mean, maybe like you say, things in your own past or what have you. But when it comes to children, I'm a wet noodle. I truly am. I am just not good at being that type of a role model for kids. I'm the one who can teach them how to paint. I'm the one who can teach them how to play a musical instrument. I'm the one that can go on the playground and it's okay, go stomp in the mud. It's fun, But all the other stuff, that's you.
It's hard.
And I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for everyone in your field, because you are so needed. And I know that, back to COVID, people said, oh, the what do they call the helpers, or
For frontline workers.
yeah, frontline workers and everything. I was the one crying, really, watching nurses and just the endless hours and all of those things that you all went through. And I'm just so glad that you have your tribe. I'm so glad that you know when it's time. And that's the key, is self-help.
Yes.
Because when you're a helper, you have to be aware of when self-help needs to be in place.
And be able to have someone that you trust that you can say to them, I'm just not good right now. I need my therapist to trust me enough that they can come into my office,
Yes.
cry, talk about it, whatever. Just say, I'm off today. I can't. I'm not having a good day. This is happening. And okay, let's take care of you. Right?
Yes.
They come first. If they're burnt out, what good are they to their clients? Like, my job is not client first.
Yes.
My job is my therapist, that they come first. And they
Yes.
have an environment that is warm, welcoming, like every day they come in, I'm like, hey, like we just like Mondays is the best because we have team meeting and we all sit around and it's like, we all get to see each other and be in space together, which
I
have the
work
chills.
with
I
you.
love it. I love it.
I
It
do.
makes
I'm gonna like knock on your door and go, do you have a job for me? Can I just come sit on Mondays and
people actually, clients, if they have the wrong day,
yeah.
I'll catch people in the waiting room just like having a cup of coffee just on their phones. I'm like, are you being helped? They're like, yeah, I'm just hanging out because I had the wrong day, or they'll say they came early or whatever, and I'm just gonna hang out. Awesome.
Fantastic.
I love it.
That's how it should be.
Yep.
It opens the door to being comfortable, and it opens the door to being honest about
Absolutely.
what you're looking for as far as assistance. I commend you again. I truly do, and your entire team. I was able to meet some of your team,
Yeah.
and they're just stellar. You can tell their energy and their vibrancy through their eyes. They just sparkle and they dance.
You're getting me all teary-eyed
But
now.
they do, they dance.
Yeah.
And when somebody can still dance and still sparkle while just looking and being observed, wow.
Well, and that's my job. That's
Yeah.
what I see my job being, is making sure they don't lose that sparkle.
That is your calling.
I feel blessed every day to do the job I'm doing right now.
We're blessed to have you. How do we get a hold of you? How do we do this, Dana?
How do we do this?
Yes, please.
Ellie Corporate has the website, it's just elliementalhealth.com.
Okay.
And you can go put in your zip code and find any Ellie. There's a couple here in Illinois. We're all independently owned and operated. So
Wonderful.
we're all connected and separate at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
Our Ellie's phone number is
Please.
630-394-1379.
Okay.
That's how you can call and get an appointment. And then our Ellie email is Ellie, ELLIEIL for Illinois, 197 at elliementalhealth.com.
All
So
right.
those are the different ways that people can get a hold of us. And I am hiring right now.
Please talk about that.
I'm looking for LCSW, LCPC, pre-licensed, someone who is willing to come into an environment and be themselves,
Yes.
and treat clients and feel like they have a home
Absolutely. And be loved.
and be loved.
And love. I can say, it's all about the love, which is what folks need.
Absolutely.
We all need it.
Not to say we don't have hard conversations, right?
You have to.
You have to have hard conversations.
Yeah.
And you have to have that foundation of trust. And so that foundation allows you to have, just like in relationships with a husband, with a wife, with a partner, with friends, with kids,
Right.
you have to have that foundation of trust in order to have those. So the first couple of days of orientation is where I'm building that trust with my staff so that they do feel comfortable coming to me and saying, and their old trauma from other places doesn't play games on them, right?
Mm-hmm. And again, your own experiences is something that I'm sure you share.
Absolutely.
Having left because of an unfriendly work environment. So, being able to be authentic to your incoming team and letting them know, hey, these are some of the things I've gone through, and establish your rules and regulations, because everyone has rules and regulations.
Yep.
You just have to.
Yep.
But next month, and I would like to end with this wonderful, wonderful boom, boom, boom to the month of May. I can't believe it's going to be May soon.
I
Can
know.
you? But anyhow, it's Mental Health Month.
It is.
How
It
are we
is.
celebrating you in Aurora?
Last year, we weren't even like really open yet, and we got one of the mayor awards for
It's
excellence.
online,
I
yes.
was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. So this year, we're posting a lot of things about self-help and coping, and we're trying to get out there and do more events. We're going to be at West Aurora High School for, they have a mental health fair, wellness day.
Okay.
So we're going to be with a bunch of other mental health agencies celebrating. The kids come out. It was great last year. It's like all outside. The kids come out. They
Aw.
hop different tents. They have music and a DJ playing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's so much fun.
Where can we find these events? Is it going to be on the Aurora app?
I don't know, actually. That
Okay.
one is for students. So that one is definitely put in students. I know NAMI KDK
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of events posted on their website. The health department, the Kane County Health Department, AOK, is for the younger kids. They have a lot of things posted on their Padlet. The health department is posting events.
Okay.
So we just pop around and help out where we
Fabulous.
can.
And we can find you on LinkedIn.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram,
Great.
Facebook we're at Ellie Mental Health Aurora.
Fantastic. Ellie Mental
Mental
Health Aurora. Ellie Mental Health Aurora. Would you come back in May during Mental Health
Absolutely.
Month and give us some tips?
Let's
Seriously?
do like a coping skills.
I would love
like
that.
self-care type
Yes.
event. That'd be fun.
Okay.
Oh, I'd love it.
Deal?
Yes, and I'll bring
Date?
one of my therapists.
Date.
With. Date.
Okay. There's a space right here for your person, I would like to say. I don't know who you're choosing
don't
yet,
know.
but okay. Whoever you choose, I know it's going to be great. Dana, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you. I appreciate your team. I appreciate the entire mental health industry completely. No matter what they're doing, it takes so many different people to make it all work behind the scenes, whether you're a janitor in a hospital, whether you're the person moving the food trays, whether you're a maintenance person, whether you're the person outside cutting the grass and making people feel comfortable coming in, whether you're the surgeon, whether you're the social worker. It just takes so much. And as my generation starts to go into nursing homes and go into, senior living and things of that, this institution of health is going to skyrocket. So I say this, if you're looking for a career and you truly want to give back and you want to be part of a community of caring people, consider healthcare. Consider it. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
And this is what's happening in the world of work, Aurora. Thank you.